that I heard of once in a lullaby. Well, somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream, they really do come true. Someday I wish upon a star, and I wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above those chimney tops. That's where you find me, yeah. Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly. If birds fly over the rainbow, why, little why can't I? Yes, if birds fly over the rainbow, why, then oh why can't
We just heard Billy Thorpe singing one of his biggest hits from the 60s, Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Today he's living and working in Hollywood, where he's forged a new career writing film and television scores. A new CD collection of Billy's hits, here it is here, with his band, the Aztecs. It's been released and Billy's back in Australia to promote it. Would you please welcome Billy Thorpe? It's a while since you sung that one, huh?
It is. Actually, I think the last time I sang that on television was in this studio over 20 years ago.
Well, to make us both feel a bit old, the last time I saw you sing live was in King's Cross at Lee Gordon's
Surf
in
City.
1963 at Surf City, doing Mashed Potato and Poison Ivy.
My God.
Eh?
That's a long time ago.
31 years ago.
I don't remember being that young.
Don't you?
No.
And the crowd, but we all did the stomp. Did the stomp? Remember the stomp?
I used to do stomp demonstrations. I went to New
we
Zealand and
used to do-
demonstrated
used
the
to do
stomp.
We
Yeah.
we'd get up there, we'd be out the Surf City. 1963. Long way since. That surprised you, didn't it?
Yeah, it did, man. How do you feel after that?
Surprised me too. But people forget sometimes. I mean, you were bigger than the Beatles. I mean, you guys would get 60,000 people to a concert.
Well, I don't know about bigger than the Beatles, but we were popular here. I mean, when the Beatles came to Australia, I think we had the #1 record at the time. As a matter of fact, at one stage, I think we had the top 5 between us.
Let's look at the crowd. That's.
I don't remember being that young.
The coppers coming in there to clean people out. But you had #1. I think when the Beatles came to Australia, you guys were #1 and they were #6.
Something like that, yeah.
And you got to meet them.
Yeah, I did. We got a call from. They were staying at the Sheraton. I was living in the Cross. And we got a call from Derek Taylor. I think it was Derek Taylor, their publicist, and said, there's a party, why don't you come around? So a couple of the guys went around. There was a lot of people there. It wasn't like a meeting of the minds, but it was great. And I got to know George and Ringo in the States because I was working with Mick Fleetwood, and George was Mick's brother-in-law for many years. And he remembered the times we had. Yeah.
Well, that's better than when I know when finally when the Beatles met Bob Dylan, they hated each other. They had this mindless conversation in a hotel room and had nothing in common at all.
Well, when I saw George, it was in Maui. It was at a Bob Dylan concert about 2 years ago. Bob had been in Australia, I think, a couple of years ago, and went through there. So they're all good friends now. Yeah.
Why did you go to the States?
I'd really run out of things to do here, Darren. You know, I mean, I'd had two very distinct, separate, successful careers. I had my own television shows and...
But it was the old Aztecs, the new Aztecs, and the TV shows.
Aztecs from '64, which was Poison Ivy and Over the Rainbow and a lot of that stuff. Then I went into television. I was a regular on Bandstand for years in this very studio. And then in the late '60s, '70s, I formed another band which became the Aztecs. And we had songs like Most People I Know Think I'm Crazy and did Sunbury, and off it went again. We had a lot of hits. So by about '74, I thought, you know, where am I going to go? Am I going to do this again? And I'd been in the States. And I just thought it was something I had to do. I just wanted to get out and get into other things outside of being a rock star.
Of course, most people I know now has become a hit again with Gary Sweet and
right. I haven't heard it. I still haven't heard it.
Listen, I'll play it for you.
Is it good?
It's very good. Isn't it? You like it? Yeah. No. The original. But did you like the version when I played the drums at the Logies? That version of it. Did you like that version of it? Yeah. That sort of saved it. Yeah. Okay. Did you write? You didn't write that, did you?
Yeah.
So you make royalties out of Gary Sweet?
Absolutely. It's lovely, yeah. I actually, somebody came up to me in a bar one night and said to me, you know, because I went from looking like that, the thing we just saw, pretty much to looking like this in about 2 years, and we'd have audiences come along expecting to hear Over the Rainbow, and I turned into this mad rock and roll blues singer. And a guy came up to me and said, you know, Thorpe, most people I know think that you're crazy, you know, and it just stuck, and I went home and wrote it that night, and it became a number one.
Well, that was the line.
Yeah.
Do you know, my parents didn't think you were crazy. They thought you were sacrilegious.
Oh, really?
Because they said, how dare anybody do that to Judy Garland's Over the Rainbow? They did. They said, how could anybody do such a thing to her song?
I don't even remember when I started. I started on television in Brisbane on Channel 9 when I was 10 years old. Yeah, I used to do a show called The Channel 9ers with, I can't think of the guy who had the show, but that was sort of one of the songs that I ended up doing on that show, and I ended up throwing it into a set that we did once somewhere, and then it got such a great reaction that I ended up recording it, and it became, you know, a smash for us.
Now in the States, you've had a varied career because you've, I said in my introduction, you've written scores for movies. Eight's Enough, you wrote that for TV series?
Oh, television, yeah. I got into, a friend of mine was head writer on Star Trek, and he told me about a new series that was coming up called War of the Worlds. I don't think you got it here.
And that was in Britain.
Yes, the States. It was top 5 for nearly 3 years there, and like 240 stations a week. So I did nothing but write, and I really got into scoring, and I worked with orchestras, and I did some films, and when I did 8 is Enough, I thought, this is enough. I don't want to do this anymore. You know?
How did you get involved in special effects in the movies for things like Aliens and Poltergeist too?
It just through the music. The first album I had in America was a part of a trilogy called Children of the Sun. It was a sci-fi album, and it was a platinum record for me in 1979, 1980. And I started to get a reputation. It was kind of like a Pink Floyd type of style, and that trilogy was very successful. It was a top 40 across the board. So I had a reputation in the States for that kind of music, and I built my own studios, and just got into synthesizers and computers, and it was one thing led to another. That's the beauty of Hollywood.
Yeah,
you know?
Because that's big enough.
Well, I don't think anybody would have ever let Thorpe score a film, you know. So it was fun.
Is there anything you miss about Australia?
Yeah, I do. The people. I really notice...
You told me yesterday there's nothing you missed about Australia.
Oh, you did. That's not true. We ran into each other yesterday and went through this whole thing. I do. There's a genuine warmth that I get from people here. It's quite overwhelming at times. You know, I haven't really spent any time in this country in nearly 20 years.
Nearly 20 years, that's right.
And it really comes, I think a lot of people grew up with me, you know, and even people that weren't necessarily fans have some connection, I think, to the Aztecs and Billy Thorpe that goes back to the early 60s, and I didn't realise how much it meant to me until I came back this trip, actually.
Yeah. And your wife and your kids are in LA?
Yeah, my wife is an Australian girl from Portsea, and my oldest daughter, who's 21, Rusty, she was born in Melbourne, and my youngest daughter, who's 15, Lauren, is an American.
Well, we got here, as I said before, here's the
It's called Lock Up Your Mothers.
I love it. Lock Up Your Mothers. Isn't that a great title? Lock Up Your Mothers. And I guess I've got to say this. There must be a portrait of Dorian Gray somewhere behind your door because he doesn't change, does he? How old are you?
Thank you. I'll be back. I love it.
How old are you?
I'm 46.
46. Well, it's great to have you back. It really is nice to see you again.
Thank you.
Wish you all the best with the CD, and we please thank Billy Thorpe.